Hello, welcome in everyone. Hello everyone, welcome in. Okay, if you've seen my previous videos where I was stripping down my AMD systems, I mentioned that I would be selling the core peripherals as a bundle. And by that I mean the heatsink and fan with the CPU underneath it, the memory, and the motherboard. Yes, those are the core bundles. I said I'd be selling them. I said they were all working. They were stripped down. These were all my previous systems that I had when I first started out many moons ago. They were all in good condition. They were all working. However, I did not show the items working because those videos were just really a teardown. So today what I'm going to do is just quickly run through each system, boot them up, show you that they work. Now I've pre-prepped this board in preparation. I've already gone ahead and inserted my dongle, which is here, for my keyboard and mouse. And what we're going to do now, we're going to boot the system up, go into the BIOS. All these boards have the latest BIOS. There's no more BIOSes for these boards. Every one of these boards have the latest BIOS, as these boards are no longer manufactured or really supported. They're all up to date in BIOS wise, so if you purchase any of them, you don't have to worry about if you've got the latest BIOS. It's all on board. So with that said, let's get started. So I'm just going to flick the power on here on my power supply. I've got a power switch here, which just connects up to the board. I've just used the power. It's got all the other connectors on. It's just an external power connector because I'm testing the boards out of the system. So what I see is the fan start up. So I'm going to press the button now. There we go. Fan started. And then what we're looking for on this screen is a post. Now I've got my keyboard on, so I'm going to see if I can get into the BIOS with a bit of luck. Okay, so I've got to reboot and then press F2 or Del, I'm not sure. I'll spam each one. It's kicking up again, and you can see it's going through there we go. It should connect now with the VGA, and there we are, we're in the BIOS. Okay, so we're in the BIOS. So that's just to demonstrate that the board works. Okay, so we know that the board works, and as you can see, it has its own. The chip has graphics in it, so it's got onboard graphic because the graphic I'm running off is the board. But there's nothing stopping you putting your own graphics card on with this board. So there you go. So let me just bring that up. And just a second, picture's not gone. There we go. So bring that up. So there you are. So there's the board working. That's what this board is. It's an ASRock N68 VS. It's got integrated NVIDIA GeForce 7025 graphics. And it can support up to 8 cores CPU dual channel AMD. It's a dual channel, and it can support 8 cores of CPU. It's AM3 dual channel AM3 RAM DDR3. This is what's actually the specs. What I'm showing here is what this spec is of this board. So this is what you're actually getting. Yeah. Now the heatsink the IO shield's actually included. Here's the IO shield. It's in the case. I put it in a envelope, and this board does come with a manual, though you won't need it, and the original disc. Again, I say though you won't need it because it's all up to date with its drivers and everything. The BIOS is up to date. So basically this will run Windows 10, and if you'll bear with me, I can quickly demonstrate that because I've got a hard drive here. I've got a hard drive here that's got Windows on it, and I'm just going to quickly connect that up. But before I do that, I just need to turn off the system again. So I've just turned it off. I'll just get a SATA connector on this from this power supply there, and I'm just going to connect it to this SATA drive here, and then I'll just get a cable. I'll just get a what's it cable. I do have one lying around somewhere. A SATA cable. Here we go. A SATA cable, and I'm just going to connect that to one end to this end of the drive. There you go. That's that there, and then I'm just going to connect it to SATA 1 on the board, which I think is this, if I'm not mistaken, is this one here. It doesn't matter anyway. Okay, now this disc does have Windows on it, so I'll boot it up again. There we go, fan spinning, and this time hopefully now this should now boot into Windows. Let's just show you that it can run Windows. It does run Windows 10. It won't be Windows 11 compatible simply because it doesn't have the TPM. And there you go, see, it's booting into Windows. There we go. So that's just to show you. So that's just demonstrating that all these systems work. Yeah, I'm not going to connect it to the net because obviously the disk on here will probably need updating. We're not here that long, and I just want to demonstrate. I want to run through all the boards to show you, and then you can make up your mind on which board. Take a note of the boards, the model, the specifications, and then you can decide which ones you want. It says getting device ready because this is a clean install of Windows, but there's actually no updates as such, and because it's not assigned to any one PC. Yeah, it's taking time. It's trying to find devices and drivers, but it won't do because I'm not got connected to the internet. Like I said, I'm not connected to the internet. I'm not connected it to the internet. I just wanted to demonstrate to you that the systems actually work. Yeah, and I'll be using this drive on all the other boards just to demonstrate. So you're going to get this process throughout. I should have really done this on the solid state drive. I probably will move this over to solid state drive. So yes, the reason why it's taking so long to load now is because it's actually trying to see if there's any internet connection, which is not. I'm not connected to the internet. Obviously you'd want to download the drivers, see if it recognizes the system from before and activate Windows and all that, but I'm not doing that. I'm not connected, and that's why it's going through all this process, because basically it's like a new setup. But there you can see we're now into Windows. And there you are, we're at the Windows desktop. So as you can see, the system works. So if you're interested, there's the specs, take a note, there's my email address, you can reach out for me. So that's the first one. I'm going to switch off now, and then we'll move on to the second one, the second system. Okay, so the second system we've got is an MSI 760 GM-P23, and the CPU on this, as you can see, is a AMD FX 4300, which is a quad-core processor. Again, all these systems have got 8 GB of RAM, and DDR3 RAM. 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is DDR3, 1600 gigahertz. Yes. Oh, and just excuse me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Scam caller, my internet service provider. Yes, with an Indian accent. Very funny with an English name. Yeah, Indian accent with David Michaels or something like that. His name. Yeah, yeah. Scam calls. Okay, so as I was saying, let's get back on. This is the second system now. The second board I'm going to test in now. I've already hooked up the power switch, so I'm just going to hook up the 24 pin connector, and I'm not going to bother going into the BIOS because you all see that the BIOS works. I'm just going to go straight into, just going to hook up the Windows drive again and go straight into the Windows. Let me just turn this so I can access. There we go. Bang. That's that. And then I just need the EPS connector again. Again, these are all 4-pin EPS connectors. Most modern boards now are 9-pin EPS connectors. But there you go. So, here it is, my 4-pin EPS connector. And it's hiding here on the board next to the CPU. Okay, that's that. I'm going to connect up the SATA drive. Okay, to the board, and turn my power supply back on. Yes, fan spinning, and we should again go into Windows from this. Oh, there we go. 1120 boot menu. Oh, see my settings wrong time and date. Okay, I understand that. Did I put? Yes, I did put my. Here we are. Here we are, loading into Windows, as you can see. It's the same drive that was on the other one, so you're going to go through the same process again. There we go. And again, there you go. So we're back into Windows. So as you can see, this also works. Okay, so that's your second system. So we'll turn that off. Power that down. and we'll move on to the next board. Right, so now we'll move on to the third system, and this one is an Asus. Yep, we've got a AMD FX 4100 quad-core CPU, and again 8GB of DDR3 RAM. As you can see, now all these systems are coming with the I/O shield and everything you see. So, like I say, nothing's going to be removed. You get the processor, the heatsink and fan. Obviously, you can change those out if you want to. The 8GB of memory, the motherboard, and the I/O shield. Yeah. So you'll be getting all that. So I've already took the liberty. Let me just connect up the SATA cable to the SATA data cable to the hard drive. And again, as I say, all these boards have got all the latest BIOS, so we're going to go straight into Windows. So the fan's spinning, and now we want to see an output on this screen. And there we go. There's the post screen, and again, we should go through the same thing as it goes into Windows. There we are, straight into Windows. So I'm just showing you that none of these systems are faulty. They're all working. So again, if you want to reach out to me, if you're interested in any of these systems, have a look at the ones you're interested in, look at the specs, then make your mind up. You can always read up on the higher specs, more specifications of the board. If you take the board number, go into Google, and you don't even have to type in Asus, just go into Google search, you just type the M5A78L-M Plus, and it'll bring up the board. You go to the Asus website, it'll bring up the board specification. You can see the full specification of the board. Yeah, but the specification that you see at the top there, this is the specification that it is at the moment. That's what I'm running. So that's the board, that's the CPU that's on the board, that's the amount of RAM you've got on the board. So that's what you're getting. Okay, so that's your third board done. So we'll now move on to the next board. So I'm going through these because I don't want to make this too much of a long drawn out video. All I want to demonstrate to you is that I'm true to my word. When I said they worked, they worked. It's just that when I stripped them down, I didn't actually boot them up to show you them working, because those videos were just a tear down, and I stated that they work. But this is to demonstrate to you that they do work, so you know I'm not selling you, fake goods, or I'm saying they work when they don't work. You're actually seeing it working here now. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so now the fourth one. Right, this is a gigabyte. Where's my card? Never put my card. Okay. Got the specs here somewhere. I've just lost my card. This, well, you can see what it is on the screen anyway. What's a gigabyte? 970A. This has 8GB of RAM again, as I said, you all have. This is a 6-core AMD CPU, which is the AMD FX 6100, yeah, and it runs at 3.3 GHz. Yep. So as with all the others, you'll be getting the I/O shield. Right. With this board, it has no graphic output display port. So let me show you the I/O ports. Over there. Let me show you the ports. As you can see, You've got your keyboard and mouse, PS2 style ports. You've got 2, 4, 6 USB 2 ports, 2 USB 3 ports, Ethernet and audio ports. This has no, unlike the other boards, no video output ports on it. So with this board you must have a discrete graphics card, yeah, to use it. Now I think the chip itself, if I remember, may have graphics on it. I can't 100% remember, because with this board not having a graphic output port, I can't check it. Obviously I could take out the chip and put it in one of the other boards and check it, but I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to start messing about with the configurations. So no matter what, if you buy this system for this board, you need to have a GPU. So if you've got a GPU, you ain't got a problem. Okay, so I've just put a GPU in. I'm now just going to connect up the VGA connector to that screen. I've already put the power connected up the power switch. I'll stick one of these. I'll connect one of these SATA. It says this is number 1 in this corner, so why should I disbelieve him? That's number 1. Now I need to plug in the 24 pin. Plug in the 24 pin. Okay, and then I need to plug in the EPS connector. Which you always hide right up at the top. There we go, EPS connector is up here. Okay, so that's that connected. Right, so what video have I put the USB dongle in for the board? Let me just check. Did I take it out the other way? Yes, it's here. It's here, but it's not plugged in. So let me just plug this in for the keyboard and mouse. And once again, I'm just going to go straight to Windows. All the BIOSes are up to date. So we're looking for fan spin over here. Let me just move it up a bit. Just watch for that circle moving there. And then we'll go up to the monitor and see what we get. So I've turned that on. Turn that to on. Press my button. Fan spinning. And there we are. So once again, as you can see, the board works because we've got into the BIOS, and now we should start loading Windows from this drive again. There we go. So now the next board that I'm doing also requires discrete graphic, because again it has no video output port, just like this board. So again, any of these, this is a 6 core. This is what you're getting. You're not getting the graphics card with it, I'm afraid. So don't think that this graphic card's not coming with it. You will need your own graphics card, and the same is going to be for the next board. So make a note. Go back through all the videos. Make a note of which system you want or you're interested in. Send me an email, and we can come to some arrangement. Price will not include postage, so postage will be separate. There's not I can do about that because these boards are different sizes. Some are ATX, some are micro ATX. Obviously, there's going to be different sizes and weight, so that it's going to vary. So, you know, make sure you've got that in consideration. So factor that in. Right, so there we go. It's posted to Windows. So there you go. So that's the fourth one. So now we're down to the last one. So for the next. Okay everyone, so last but not least we come to a Gigabyte, and this is a GAM52L S3P Gigabyte motherboard. Same amount of RAM, 8GB of DDR. It says DDR2 RAM, but I think you'll find this is actually DDR3. However, I digress. So the CPU is a AMD Phenom 9650, and it's a quad core running at 2.3 GHz. And it does say it requires a discrete graphic card. Again, like the previous board, this has no video output ports, so you will need a discrete graphic card, regardless of whether the chip has a graphics in it or not. Because you've got no graphic port on the board, you need a graphics card. So once again, I've set up. Let's get this system started up. Let me turn my power supply on. Sorry about that. Fans are running, as you can see, and we'll see if we get an output on the screen. This is the last board. There we go. So we know it posts, so we know the board works. So as you can see, as I stated, all my system works. It's just going through everything, and now it's going to boot from this disk again, the same disk that I've used on all these, the Windows disk, the Windows hard drive disk. So again, it'll take a few seconds. This one's slightly slower, 2.3 GHz. So it's going to be going through the same process, seeing if there's an internet connection, and then looking to, you know, apply the required drivers for this board, if any. But I'm just going off the default settings for Windows off this Windows drive. Simply because I just want to prove to you that that the system works. So all the system works. So there you go. So if you're interested in any of these systems, as I said, see my previous videos with my email. But there you go. There's my email there. You can reach me there. Yeah. So you can reach me there. There you go, board work. So there's a system. So there you are. So that's all five boards, all five bundles that I stated work. I proved to you now that they work. So you've got no doubt in your mind. So thank you very much for your patience. I probably should have booted up each system, but the thing is, for the boot up each system, the process would have been a lot longer, the videos would have been a lot more drawn out, and I was basically trying to avoid that. I'm trying to make the videos more informative and quick, especially when there's sort of like not anything greatly in depth, if you understand what I mean. It wasn't as if though I was doing a repair or a build or something like that, or a service where, you know, I'd take you step by step through the process, show you what's involved, what I do. It was just basically tearing down my old AMD system. I am now currently on Intel platforms, but these systems are still good. These were in the early days, you know, when I first started out with being a tech, and these systems basically were just, as I evolved, I would upgrade my system, and the idea was that I was going to sell these on or whatever. I ended up using them for doing other little projects and things, you know, to practice on, rather than my daily PC with all my vital information on. so I wouldn't risk it. So I never really got around to selling them. And now, of course, the standards have moved on that fast. You know, but these still all run Windows, as you can see, they all run Windows 10. So you've got no problem running Windows 10. There won't be Windows 11 compatible because they don't have the TPM. However, saying that, if you were to go and get a chip, buy a chip and put it on, you could do. But saying that, the standards are so slow anyway. You know, you're going to be bottlenecked by the speed of the bus on the board and everything. And as I say, all these boards, if you just take the model number, you don't have to put the gigabyte in. If you go into Google, you don't need to type in gigabyte. All you have to type in is GA-M52L-S3P. Hit enter. Usually on the first search result that comes up, it'll show you the gigabyte website. You go to that, show you the model, the gigabyte website. You go to that, and you can look at the actual full spec of the board. So it'll show you what CPUs in the AMD family, you know, are compatible with it. The maximum number of DDR RAM it can take, and all the rest of it. So you can get the full specs of each board. So that's all you do. So if you're interested in any of these systems, there's the address. Reach out to me, and we can come to some arrangement. So with that being said, I thank you guys, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Well, here we are, people. I'm just getting ready to take these to the tip now. So we've got at the very bottom there, the best case out of the bunch. I say the best case, the most sturdiest built. The beige one above it is not too bad. And then those two cheap type cases. Like I said, the two on top, the two micro ATX cases are actually in decent nick, but they're no good as for a modern day build. Well before cable management was a thing. Sharp edges, they're flimsy, they're flexible. Any sort of fans in there would make them too noisy. No airflow at the front. So you've seen my videos of me stripping all these systems down. Well, now they're off to the tip. And in this box here, we've got all those power supplies that are cut up. There you go. All those power supplies that I cut the cables off. There's all the cables loose. There's all the cables there, cut off. So I'm going to take those to the tip. So that's where I'm off now, to the tip. So I'll see you when I get back.